Welcome to the weekly Switch 2 hacking recap by Better Gaming, without fluff and without clickbait. My name is Yu, welcome. The MiG Flash, formerly MiG Switch, got new firmware version 1.2.1 and 1.2.2 that adds a stealth mode. The developers claim it's virtually indistinguishable from a real game card. They even offered a bug bounty for anyone who can detect it. The team now advertises the card as Switch 2 compatible, but these claims lack independent verification. Caution: Nintendo ties each cartridge's ID to consoles, so using such flashcards still risks an instant ban. Users have reported console bans with error 2124 4508 after trying MiG cards online. If you test this firmware, stay offline or use a secondary console. Coming next to Nintendo's anti-piracy campaign continues. The FBI, with help from Dutch FIOD, seizures the major Switch ROM site NSW2U, a well-known hub for pirated Switch games often leaked early. This high-profile takedown shows Nintendo's global reach against piracy. They've previously shut down the Ryujin simulator site and even pursued a Switch piracy subreddit moderator. On the flip side, consumers' rights groups are pushing back. In Brazil, watchdog Procon-SP has filed a legal complaint against Nintendo's policy of permanently bricking/banning Switch 2 consoles. They argue that outright console bans without recourse violate consumer rights. Nintendo has been given 20 days to respond to Procon-SP. Attention, fake Switch 2 emulator Axiom. There is no working Switch 2 emulator yet. Recently, a program called Axiom was hyped as a first Switch 2 emulator, but it turned out to be a complete scam. It just played back pre-recorded game videos and even faked claimed a Nintendo takedown to seem legit. Bottom line, any site or download claiming Switch 2 emulator is almost certainly a hoax or malware. Real emulation will take years, once firmware dumps and game ROMs become available. Don't fall for fake emulators, they don't exist yet. Switch 2 Pro Controller Teardown. iFixit's Teardown gave Nintendo's new Pro Controller a scathing review. They called it a piss-poor excuse for a controller because it's extremely hard to repair. The faceplate is glued down with heavy adhesive and hidden screws, so you must forcefully peel parts off just to reach the battery. In other words, replacing the battery or sticks requires destroying the housing. The analog stick still use old potentiometers, so stick drift will likely persist. The only silver lining, the headphone jack is a separate module and is easy to replace. Bottom line, build quality and ergonomics are good, but user repairs, battery and sticks are nearly impossible without serious disassembly. NVMe SSD modding progress. Hackers are actively working on hardware mods to expand storage, thanks to Switch 2's microSD Express slot, which actually exposes a PCIe X1 NVMe interface. Several open source projects are building microSD to M.2 SSD adapters. Early designs like NBNT Labs SDX2M2 map their PCIe lines to a tiny M.2 2230 NVMe SSD. In prototype tests, the console can see the NVMe drive natively. No protocol conversion needed. Power draw is a concern. NVMe drives use more power than a typical microSD card, so builders add simply power filters and recommend low voltage drives. Enthusiasts, including ourselves, have tiny soldered boards and microcontrollers ready to emulate the card detect signal. It's still experimental, but the goal is clear. Eventually use cheap high-capacity NVMe SSDs for Switch 2 storage. So the hacking situation: 1 month after launch, there is no public jailbreak or custom firmware for Switch 2, no surprising for a new console. So the hacking status: 1 month after launch, there is no public jailbreak or custom firmware or Switch 2, no surprising for a new console. Aside from a one-day demo exploit, the checkerboard graphics trick, no meaningful exploits have leaked. Rumors about eShop buffer overflows or browser bugs remain unconfirmed. The scene's top hackers are likely working quietly. These things take time. If you see any instant Switch 2 hack claims, be skeptical. It will likely be years before reliable homebrew emulators arrive, not weeks. Surprisingly, some Switch 2 users have been banned after playing second-hand games. For example, one owner bought used Switch 1 cartridges and downloaded updates, then got console ban. It appears Nintendo flagged the cartridges' IDs because those cards were previously used on a banned or hacked console. In that case, Nintendo support eventually lifted the ban after the user proved the games were legitimately purchased. The takeaway: Nintendo's ban system remembers cartridges, so buying used games carries risk. Stick to new or known clean copies if you want to use online features safely. That's the Week 5 roundup. In summary, we've got a flashcard claiming stealth, Nintendo's cracking down on pirates, scam warnings about emulators, hardware teardown news, and community mods advancing. No jailbreak yet, so stay patient and safe, and always double check where your games and mods come from. Don't forget to smile. My name is Yu. I hope I'll see you in the next video. Peace.